It was interesting to read an article published in the Vanguard Newspaper on the 6th of December 2020 about the looming collapse of the 10 trillion naira in poultry farming industry, in which it was projected that about 5 million people are likely to lose their jobs. And the results, this is the direct result of the massive spike in the prices of maize and soyabeans, two key ingredients used in the preparation of poultry feed across the country. The massive rise in their prices, almost like 90 to 100% in most cases. And that's been in addition to some of the other setbacks, such as the completely unexpected hike in price of petrol by the government. That has really put many of the poultry farmers in a bit of a fix. But you see, it's not the first time we've heard poultry farmers screaming. And please understand me. My name is Tayo Shalagbade, and this broadcast actually normally would be just for members of my farm business ideas club. But I have decided I'm going to broadcast it and make it available to anybody at all that visits my website, which is tayoshalagbade.com, TAYOSOLAGBAD.com. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want it to be clear that people across this country need to change the way they think, which has been indoctrinated into them by the schooling system most of them were exposed to. So this message is not just about farm business owners. It's about all of us as a people, especially in Nigeria and the world at large, people that attend conventional schooling. What I'm about to describe that's affecting the poultry industry, you'll not believe it, but by the time I describe it, you don't have to agree with me, but I'm making a statement of fact with this particular presentation. So I'm not looking for somebody to corroborate what I'm saying or to agree with me. It's the truth. So sometimes it just takes one person to speak the truth, because I'm living proof that it's the truth, and I will tell you why. And so when I speak this truth, what I'm hoping will happen is those who really want solutions, who know they don't want to have their businesses collapse, will listen and make the necessary amends. All right, so basically what I'm saying is that we all know it's been happening for years. Every time the poultry farmers are always shouting, like I said, I have poultry farmers as clients and friends, so please, no offense intended, but this is the truth. Those of you who are not shouting like that, then of course, they said, if the cap fits you, wear it. If it doesn't fit you, of course, drop it. So what I'm saying does not apply to everybody who's a poultry farmer. But I found that many of those who always scream and shout that something is wrong, this and that, government allows us to import this, are people who do not want to do any thinking. And they do not have a problem-solving mentality, a problem-solving disposition. They are not prepared to do any thinking to change their circumstances for the better. Let me tell you why that's a problem. It's a problem because the problem is your problem. It's not the government's problem. It's not my problem, because I don't run your business. It's your problem, and it's a problem that you're thinking like that because you are failing to understand that that business is your business, first of all, first and foremost. If it goes down, there will still be tens of others that are still up and running. No matter how bad the economy is anywhere in the world, some businesses still stay alive and keep going. Some people still start businesses and succeed, even during the worst economic downturns. I don't have to give you examples. You know what I'm talking about. Right now, all of us are coming out from the pandemic and all the NSAS. But we know that there are some people who have become millionaires during these last 12 months, bad as everything has been in 2020. Give you an example. People who have been selling hand sanitizers. You can't tell me they've not had a good year. The people selling hand sanitizers were not donating it and saying, oh, we're dashing you hand sanitizer to protect yourselves from coronavirus. They were selling the hand sanitizers, and probably at premium prices too. And they've been making great profits compared to what they saw last year, I'm sure of it. And I'm sure you know what I mean. The people that have been selling face masks or nose masks and all the other stuff have been making money. So for each person, like they say, one man's food is another man's poison. So the truth of the matter is that no matter how bad things get at any point in time, it will be different strokes for different folks. So, but back to my message. Basically, what I'm saying to you is this. We have a schooling system that is making people not like to think. And it's the reason why we have many people in the poultry industry who are speaking all the time about what is not available for them, but who are failing to understand that they can take control and begin to create solutions to solve their own problems, since it is clear that the government very often does not take action in the best interest of your business. So it is your business, therefore, to take the best decisions that will suit you. Now, the people in Hollywood have shown us the way to go. Yes, they are not perfect. I don't consider their movies the kind of movies I want to let my kids watch for the most part, with the exception of people like Afolayan and Co. And generally, I will not let my kids watch most of the Hollywood movies, though they're trying to step up their game. But the truth of the matter is that whether we like it or not, their money-making model is superb. And even internationally, they are respected for it. Their ability to mass produce and their ability to turn it around through volume into money. You can see it in industry. The industry is thriving. The question to ask is, how did they get there? We all know that the answer is that they never waited for the government. They sat down and looked at what they needed to do to make the industry work. And then they teamed up using their own private resources without waiting for the government or even asking the government to come and get involved. They literally told the government, get out of the way. We know what we want and we're going to make it happen. And today we are all benefiting from that. We are all beneficiaries of this decision to settle for self-determination in running their business model. And we can all see that the government now is trying to, first of all, government was already reaping where it did not sow, because government is now able to, impose all kinds of, levies and taxes of all kinds on these people who are stakeholders in the movie industry. They are able to get more money from them, because whether we like it or not, they are citizens of Nigeria. So if they have to pay taxes, then the government is benefiting. But what did the government do to get them where they are? Very little, if at all anything. It's only promises for the most part. So the people in the movie industry woke up and they realized, okay, you know what? We can't wait for these guys. Let's just make it happen. So back to, again, the issue of the poultry farmers. What is happening is that because of the kind of schooling system we have, people don't like to think. If you look at the movie industry, most of those that are in that industry are not trained. They didn't go to school to learn most of what they're doing. Many of them actually get crashed into that industry. And some of the best are actually not people who are trained. Some of those who have become most financially successful are mostly people who did not go and achieve formal study of, for instance, acting or theater arts and all that. Many of them actually didn't study that in that field, yet they flourish in it because they exploited their natural talent. But they were also not bound, and that's where the point of this message. They were not bound psychologically, all right, by limiting thoughts. For instance, they break the rules. They don't recognize some kind of unspoken rules that are driven by a desire to conform, to be accepted, not to stand out from the crowd. You see, the school system drills into its learners the need, okay? It indoctrinates people to believe that they must always go with the crowd, that they must find ways to fit in and to blend and to not to break the rules. But you find that innovation and creativity requires that you do the exact opposite. This is why you find all over the world some of the most successful achievers in any sense imaginable are people that never really went far in a formal academic schooling. Go and check it. Is it the footballers you want to look at? Look at some of the most creative and most successful footballers. There were people that never really passed through a school system per se. Many of them came from poor homes. They could not afford to go to school, and they were always on the streets playing football, and therefore from there they developed their abilities and talents, and they were picked up and they were taken abroad or wherever, and they flourished. Go and check. I know one called what's his name? JJ Okocha. Go on, how much schooling these guys have? JJ Okocha said he used to sell oranges on the streets of Lagos, and he was in a room in Lagos with his mother and his sisters also. He lived in poverty. He didn't have the opportunity to go and start early and go through you see, the Robert Kiyosaki calls the school system a mind-numbing experience, a place where you are told to recite things. It describes students in that children in that school system as mindless parrots. Why? Because they are made to recite the same thing. They come in, the teacher comes to class. Good morning, ma. How are you? Fine, thank you, thank you. You see, they train them not to engage their brains before they open their mouths. They are just told what to say and to say it without thinking, because that's what the teacher wants to hear. So you don't have to bother to think. Is there a better way to say this? Do I need to say this? Is this the right thing to say? Teacher says, open your mouth and say, and you say. So you are robbed of an essential ingredient that makes you able to exploit your God-given innermost potential as a human being, which is your thinking skill. A human being that has been trained not to do deep thinking is not functioning in the full capacity of the potential that the Creator has imbued in him or her. And that's the problem, because that means society is going to be denied the blessing it can get from having that individual achieve self-actualization. And that's what the school system does. So by the time those people who are products of the school system go out, it doesn't matter which endeavor they decide to venture in, they are limited by that conditioning from the school system. This is why, again, I leave the aspect of the movie industry and sports. I take you into business. Go and look at the most successful business people all over the world. The Mexican guy who I think 5-10 years ago was the richest man in the world ahead of Bill Gates. He didn't have much schooling. Richard Branson dropped out of secondary school. You want to talk about Bill Gates? Let's be honest with ourselves. We all know how Bill Gates got himself his first big jobs, his first big breaks, selling his software. His mother was, I think, on the board of directors of one of the big companies that gave him a chance. So then again, if you look at him, didn't he eventually drop out at some point from a formal learning institution? Didn't Mark Zuckerberg do the same thing? You know, there are so many people who found that their creative instincts made them see a need to get out of the regimented schooling system. And that's what you see. I use the word regimented. That's deliberate. It's a system that wraps you on the knuckles and says, step in line, don't fall out of line, obey, follow the instruction, be like everybody else, don't think different, don't act different, don't stand out, follow the orders. That's it. That kind of system does not let people develop their God-given abilities to create and to innovate. And if you want to succeed in real world ahead of others, if you want to be competitive, if you want to have a competitive advantage over others, then that's an aspect of you must develop. Sir Ken Robinson is a knight of the British Empire. He's renowned for his work in education and all that. But one of his most phenomenal achievements has been the TEDx talk he delivered several years ago that's titled Schools Kill Creativity. Please Google it. Sir Ken Robinson, Schools Kill Creativity, TEDx. And listen to that speech. It was amazing because he made everybody see how schools literally destroy children. Basically what we do is that when children are born and we decide to introduce them to the school system, we basically are sentencing them to an experience in which they're going to have the creativity that God gave them beaten out of them, the talent that God gave them beaten out of them, the genius that God put in them literally killed. Only very few people are able to survive going through the school system and retaining that inner creativity, that genius and talent. Many people lose it by the time they come out of the school system. They are simply dead to it. And then they go around, they keep what has been taught to them, they begin to do it to others as well because they think that's the way to be. I was lucky. Robert Kiyosaki, in his book, The Richard Series, he talks about a man called R. Buckminster Fuller, and how that one always talked about the fact that many people go through the school system, but it's important for them to realize that the school has a habit of, as this other man said, beating out the creativity. So you have to you go through the school system to get what you want, but you must protect your inner genius. You must make sure you don't allow the school to remove or to damage or to destroy that part of you, which is the part that links you to your God-given creative abilities. You lose that, you lose the essence that will make you have an exceptional ability to succeed ahead of others and to really manifest your true genius. So basically what I'm saying is that the poultry farmers are products of the school system. Most of them are. It doesn't matter whether it's just primary level they did. Once you've allowed yourself to be exposed to the system, it damages people at different rates depending on how well you can resist it. Like I said, I was one of the lucky ones. I was able to discover my deeper and inner creativity very early, and I was able to kind of find a way to combine the two. Especially after I left university, I really was lucky to have gone into a manufacturing environment, which was Guinness Nigeria PLC, and I worked in the technical function as a brewer, as a shift manager, packaging as well, and it really allowed me to explore my creativity, and I discovered that, and I never let it go. But not everybody will be lucky to do that. Some of them will eventually even continue in life to get jobs that will further kill whatever is left of their creativity. Then many of them will now be the ones that will say they want to start a poultry business. They start it and they're coming at it with the mentality of such people. The mentality of people that don't like to engage their brains and their creative instincts. All right? So going forward, what I'm trying to tell the people in the poultry industry to do is this. You have to go back and rediscover your creativity, your ability to think creatively and to innovate. Because if you want to succeed in business, you have to be an entrepreneur. I wrote an article about that over 10 years ago. I said every farm business owner farm CEO that wants to succeed needs to become entrepreneurial in their thinking. Not only just entrepreneurial, you have to adopt the lifestyle. So you're thinking, yes, but then you begin to act it out. It means that on your farm, you behave like an entrepreneur. In relation to your employees, you behave like an entrepreneur. And how do entrepreneurs behave? Entrepreneurs do not recognize, one, failure. Two, limitations. They don't know what it means. So anytime you are thinking about your farm business, it doesn't matter what is going wrong in the bigger world. The farm business owner, who is also an entrepreneur, will understand and believe and show to others who are working with him that he or she know that there's a way out of whatever is the problem facing them. So, for instance, the looming crisis, or the so-called reality that you're living, where you don't have affordable soybean, affordable maize. What I'm saying to you is that, therefore, start thinking. What's the solution? There are alternatives. I was very angry when I was reading this Vanguard article, and I saw that the writer of the article, I think it's Okon or so, or somebody like that. I can't remember the name now. He wrote there that, and there are no alternatives. What nonsense. There are people who are running farm businesses all over the African continent and outside the continent who are living their best lives right now. Why? Because they've discovered black soldier fly farming as a means of providing a very viable alternative to the traditional methods, all right, of making food available to their livestock. And I'm talking not just of poultry, but even of pigs and literally all kinds of animals. It just depends on how you decide to go about the business of black soldier fly farming. It's a big business now that's even allowing farm business owners to create second and alternative income sources. In other words, like it kind of creates a second line of business outside of your farm business that's supportive of a farm business because it supplies you products that you can feed your animals, but at the same time gives you an opportunity to make money by creating a value addition process in which you are converting the first line of products from the black soldier farming process, which is the larvae, into some other type of higher products that you're able to sell at premium prices. For instance, the oils, and then of course you turn them in dry form, you create black soldier fly meal and all that, and you use to make food for your animals. The thing is, there are farmers today who are feeding their birds and their pigs, and other animals. They are feeding them with black soldier fly products, and they are doing very well in terms of cutting their costs by as much as 60 to 70%. This is not conjecture. This is not theory. This is actually practical information. Practical results have been achieved, have been reported, and have been reported for years. What I have seen is that in the Nigerian market, the mental laziness of many farm CEOs is preventing them from embracing this alternative. It's there, right there in the economy. I happen to know a gentleman who tells me that he went and studied 4 years abroad, the business of black soldier fly farming, but he has not been able to get farm business owners in Nigeria who are willing to embrace the opportunity to have a PSF colony, for instance, set up for them and maintained by them, all right, after training on their farms. Why are they doing that? Because they're looking for the easier way, what they think is the easier way, which is buy maize, buy soybean, do it the way you've always done it. You can't keep doing that. This is why we talk about the fact that people are not making their career choices intelligently. Many people are going into careers because they were following what their parents told them, or they just wanted to settle for something just to go to university. So many of them want to go to this university. Sometimes they don't even need university education. So this whole idea of you saying that, there's no alternative, things are bad, the government is not helping us, is only because you are not willing to do your own thinking to solve your own problem. You have to understand that the government does not owe you anything. Yes, I know. You may be paying taxes. Yes, I know. The government is not supposed to be sleeping on duty. Yes. But the truth is, are you going to tell me that if the government refuses to give you money, you let your child starve to death? No. So you take control. When you begin to do it right and you're getting results, the government will come, wake up, and then you can dictate your terms for listening to the government. Because at that point in time, you don't need the government anymore. So the point is, people need to wake up. Drop the indoctrination from the school system. There's a quote I like to share with people a lot of the time when I'm talking about things like this. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Alvin Toffler. Now, people need to wake up and understand that the schooling they have gotten is one of the things that's limiting. You may not see it, but that's the reality. It's the psychological programming you've received to always be waiting for instructions, to always want to follow the rules, to always do what others are doing, to always not want to stand out from the crowd, to always want to conform, to want to keep up with the Joneses. That is what is limiting you from thinking out of the box and looking for a solution that will meet the needs of your farm. And you are thinking and allowing people to tell you that your farm business is going to collapse because the government did not do something. No. It's because you are being weak. That's why your business will collapse if you let it collapse. It's not going to be the fault of government. It's not going to be the fault of your enemies. It's going to be your fault. Your business does not have to collapse. Imagine if you are running a blastoyer fly unit, generation unit, right now on your farm. You will not have to worry about food for your animals. That's the truth. Because the key ingredient that the BSF production system allows you to create is live protein. Not even plant protein. It's live protein, which means you have the full complement of most of the key amino acids taken care of through that process. Therefore, you have it, and it's been proven to be an effective replacement for fish meal, which is probably the most expensive ingredient that's been used in feed formulation generally for livestock today. Then you talk of soybean, the same thing. It's a plant protein source. So what are we talking about? Then you have this one, it's a live protein source. And you can do whatever you like with it because you're able to produce it using waste. That's the beauty of it. You're using waste in black soldier fly breeding. You're using waste to produce that kind of thing, which becomes a protein input for your livestock. Why would anybody not want to embrace that? There's only one reason. They don't want to be different from others. They are waiting for somebody to do all the hard work for them. They want somebody to go and do all the R&D, then come to them with a packaged product they can just buy and use. They don't want to do their own research and development, their own R&D. I'm telling farm business owners, you need to have your own R&D on your farms. I've said it in another article. I'm saying to you now, if you know you don't want your farm business to collapse, stop pointing fingers and start looking inwards and start doing your own R&D. Get your own BSF production unit and explore other alternatives to your conventional feed ingredients and begin to develop and nurture those things, the production of those things on your own farm business. Become self-sufficient in generating the key ingredients you need to maintain your farm at optimal production capacity. If you become like that, you'll get to a point where not only will you be doing well for yourself, you'll be able to even sell to other farmers, train other farmers, and charge them a fee for doing so. This is the key. You have to become entrepreneurial. An entrepreneur is a problem solver. He has a passion for identifying problems, providing a solution for them, and incorporating a money-making system into that provision of that solution. That's what an entrepreneur is. People are hungry. Entrepreneur makes food, makes it available for sale at a price that's profitable to him. You are happy. He's happy. Come on, that's the solution. You have to be entrepreneurial. You are a farm business. You're not a farm charity. Wake up and smell the coffee. Nobody is going to help you take the rap if your farm business goes down. All right? And I'll end with a quote from Dr. Dubin that I think is just perfect. You are a marketer first and an expert second. You are in business to make money. If you do not do your marketing, you will not make money. The question is, what do you want to market when you're not producing? So solve your production problem. While you're doing that, nurture your marketing outlets and develop even better strategies. And you're going to be okay, no matter what happens in the economy. Because when you control your input cost, it gives you the leverage to increase your profit margins without needing to increase your prices. Get it right. Protein is your input, and it's a key input, one of the most expensive inputs you need to have for your livestock breeding, feeding. So one, you are able to control that using BSF farming, which allows you to achieve dramatic costs in your production costs. Once you're able to do that, automatically you are looking at increased profits, because that means your selling price is even the same. With your cost going down, you have bigger money to keep in your pockets. So if you now do more marketing in addition to more production, you're just going to make more money. It doesn't matter what the economy is saying, you're still going to be okay. And you have bigger margins to play with, so you can even offer people lower prices and give you a competitive edge, because your neighbors will not be able to do that because they don't have your production system. So it's time to use your brains now. This is not about shouting about import and export. Forget about it. If I even the process of importing and exporting at the exchange rate that we're talking about now, 500 naira to $1, it doesn't make sense. This is something you can produce right on your farm. BSF is something you can do right on your farm. BSF is native to West Africa. The black soldier fly is all around us. It's time to wake up and get real. If you didn't go into poultry farming business as a passion, if you went into it because you were thinking about money and you don't have a passion for it, this is the only reason, this is the only thing that will keep you. That's the only thing that's going to keep you from doing what I'm saying. But if you have a love for this business, if you went into it because you have a passion for it and you're trying to make money from it, then what I'm talking about right now will not be something that will be difficult for you to embrace. All right? If you have any questions, reach out to me. My name is Tayo Shalabadi. You can check me out at tayosolagabade.com. tayosolagabade.com. I wish you well.